Hey everyone, I am back. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. I hope that you've had an amazing week. For those of you who are tuning in for the very first time, welcome, welcome. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. We are here live every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern on Black Women Empowered Incorporated Facebook page, YouTube, and LinkedIn Live. And for those of you tuning in to the replay on Dr. Nekeshia Hammond YouTube page, welcome back. Be sure to like this video, share, and subscribe to the page. So let me know where you're tuning in from in the chat here. I reside in the Tampa Bay area of Florida, um, and I am in the Tampa Bay area of Florida today. I always say where I reside and where I'm tuning in from because sometimes I'm just in different parts of the country or different parts of the world. But it's all good. So again, let me know where you're tuning in from in the chat. Hopefully, I'll be able to see the chat today. And for those of you who are brand new to Mental Health Moment is all about how do you work on becoming the best version of who you are so you can show up powerfully for yourself and for the people around you. So we talk about different mental health tips each week. And again, some of you are my note takers, you're jotting down, which is all good. Some of you are listening, some of you are watching. It's all good either way, however you want to consume this information. But my hope for you, of course, is that you continue to show up for yourself and you continue to implement and make these changes. So thanks for joining here. Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. Trying to think. I do have some announcements, but I think yeah, actually there's some announcements that I still can't make yet, but as soon as I can make those announcements. But what I can say is for those of you who may have been at the PNEX conference this past weekend in Atlanta, thanks so much for joining. It was an amazing event. I was super excited to be there. And I got to run into one of my favorite people in the world, Mr. Les Brown, which needs no introduction, of course. Just an amazing human being. And we were backstage having some conversations, catching up a bit. And I'm just always so amazed by people like Mr. Les Brown or Dr. Les Brown, I should say, because there's just so many of us in the world that are doing so much good just to really help others. And I wanted to really devote this mental health moment today. Sometimes, a lot of times on mental health moment, we're talking about self care and how do we work on ourselves. But sometimes we have to be also thinking, of course, of how we're serving others and helping others, right? And being compassionate about others. And mental health moment is for anyone. I see your comments here, but no matter what nationality you are, what religion you are or are not, everyone is welcome here on Mental Health Moment. So I do want to say that, and everyone's able to learn. But excuse me, but nonetheless, it was an amazing event. As I mentioned, got to run into some just really amazing, awesome people. Super grateful for that. Also, I think there's another event coming up soon, but as soon as I get those specifics, I'll always let you know. You can also find upcoming events that I'll be speaking at drnekeshiahammond.com, which is on the screen /events. That we try our best, my team and I, to update that as often as possible. So that will be on there as well. But another thing I wanted to share before I start today's mental health moment, and I had mentioned last week, but I just wanted to reiterate because it's something that has touched me personally and, of course, professionally with the hurricane, of course, Hurricane Melissa that just devastated Jamaica. Really difficult. Of course, I know many of you, obviously, it was global news, have just seen the heartache and the tragedy and the damage and the devastation, which is hard. So if in any way that you can help that situation, I would just ask you again. There's just the need is so great, but I really don't want you to ever think that this whatever you think is small, because right, sometimes we think our contributions are small when there's like billions of dollars in damage or just billions of dollars that are needed to restore the country, frankly, by the estimates. But I don't want you to think about that. I'd rather you think of like, what can I do to contribute in whatever way that looks like for you? But there's I pinned it on my Instagram page. I think it's on most of my social media pages. I pin like ways you can help with local resources that I know. If you want to go to a national resource or whatever reputable resource that you choose, I would be elated and grateful for just that support. Because It was a lot. And also thank you for those who already did donate to the Amazon link that I put. Thank you so much. My friends and I have been just locally just trying to collect different things, whether it be at my office or a friend lended her house, other friends are just lending houses, like just getting in supplies to help with this, ginormous need. Right. And there's a lot of great organizations that are doing great work as well. So I just wanted to put that plug into there. Um, yes, to make sure we're, thinking about others in the global community here. So on today's mental health moment, just again thinking about, we're heading into the holidays. There's a lot that happens. For those of you who celebrate or don't celebrate or whatever the thing is, there's still just the energy of end of the year. Maybe you're like, I can't wait for this year to be over with. Maybe you're like, this year has been amazing. I don't know. But either way, like there's just a certain stressful energy that tends to happen towards the end of the year. So for all of us, whether you celebrate the holidays or not, so I did want to share with you today a couple of tips on how to think about supporting others through this hectic, busy end of year holiday season thing that we're all a part of. If you're new to mental health moment, but again, I wanted to share a couple of tips with you all of how we can think about supporting others around us because, oh my gosh, there's so much. There's so much we don't know about each other sometimes. I always stress, and I'll reiterate again. I want to just say it boldly. Social media is a lie sometimes. And what I mean by that is that it's very easy to hide behind social media. So again, if you're seeing a 20-second video that someone has posted for their entire 24 hours of the day, I promise you, you have no idea how they're doing, right? But we our brains, because our brains like shortcuts, so we tend to think, "Oh, yeah, we know like, oh, yeah, that person's living a perfect life. Everything's good. Everything's fine." Right? Because we saw like a 20-second clip or we saw a picture with someone smiling, right? And we don't know the reality is people are like falling apart and struggling, right? Because we just don't know that. So, nonetheless, you may or may not find out certain things about people, but regardless of whether or not you really know what's going on behind your family members and your friends or your coworkers' lives, I just want to share with you a couple of tips again with all the people you're interacting with again during the holiday season for those of us who celebrate holidays or just end of year chaos that tends to happen so we can make sure as a community we're supporting each other because even though this time could be joyous, it's also a very difficult time for a lot of people as we head towards the end of the year for just a lot of different reasons. So again, I really wanted to share a couple tips today of how we can support others. Okay, so the first tip, and I know some of you are my note right or my note takers, right? But the first tip is pretty easy one. But just to make sure you're checking in with people. Checking in literally could look like a simple text. Hey, how you doing? Just checking in. And don't, it's easy to check in with people that we know are going through something as you should, right? If you know someone is going through heartache and pain and worry and stress and just things happening, lifing, obviously, hopefully, as good people and good humans, we're checking in with those people. But don't only check in the people that visibly you can see that something is wrong going on with them because there's a lot of people. Like I said, I promise you, there are a lot of people that are hurting, that are having a hard time, that are not going to necessarily be displaying it on social media, or they're not telling you for whatever reason, right? So when you interact with these said people, especially for those of you who are at Thanksgiving events coming up or Christmas events or whatever holiday celebration that you may be engaging in, or maybe just a stranger that you see out and about. Um, you know, let's make sure we're doing our best to display the kindness, right? And especially if you do know the person and you happen to have their phone number, easy, like sending the quick text, like, how are you doing? I'm just checking in. I'm just seeing how you're doing today. That's it. And even though that person may not respond, they may. I mean, they may tell you the whole life story in a text, but they may not. I really want you sincerely to know that reaching out to them really goes a long way. Like it goes a lot farther than you think. So for you, it could be just a simple act like, oh, I was just checking in. But to that person, Man, I'm gonna tell you all a story in a minute. But to that person receiving it, that literally could be a life-saving thing that you do. Um, I have to tell you my story in a minute because it made me think of something. I won't say the name of the person, but this past weekend at the conference I went to, I met an individual, and first of all, I just think she's so amazing. Like sometimes you meet people at like a networking event or conference or just wherever, I don't know, wherever you sort of hang out and you meet new people and they're just like just very full of life and they're exciting and you click with them and you're right. So it was like one of those people. I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like she's my sister or something. Like just amazing human, right? And so anyhow, so we were at part of the networking of the conference this past weekend, and I learned her story because sometimes we don't know people's story. So again, there's just beautiful woman, and she's like energetic, and we're just just excited to meet one another and just talking. And she shared different parts of her story, which was first of all, her resilience was amazing. And I won't go into her story because I don't want to give away who this person is. But I will say that there was a part, I mean, just hard things that she dealt with. And there was a part where I remember she told me, she said she was she was struggling so much mentally with the things that she was going through that there were days where she would just look for something positive, meaning she said there were days when she would just, kind of walk outside or walk around and the person that smiled at her, you all, like this is real. This is like a real story. Like this is not just a textbook that I just talked to this past weekend. She said like she would just wait and like a person that would smile at her, stranger that would smile at her like as she walked would be like, okay, this is a reason for me to keep living today. Like that is y'all, like, that's crazy, like, this is a real person, and I promise you she's not the only one, like and I don't wanna put that much pressure on you all, um, but it is the reality, like, those are anyways, there were just days where she just had really dark times, really struggled with staying alive, frankly, because it was just she was going through a lot of hardships. And again, like I said, like one of the things she would look for, she was like, I was just trying to find anything positive out of my day. So can you imagine her walking, let's say, through a mall and like a stranger would smile at her and she'd be like, okay, all right, fine, okay. I won't take my life today, right? And this is years ago this happened to this person. She's in a great place now and I just think she's an amazing person. But the point is that's how low that person was. Who would the strangers don't know? Like the strangers aren't knowing in the mall or wherever she was walking down the street, like, they don't know what's going on with we do not know what is going on with people in front of us, like, we don't, right? So, again, the simple check-ins, I've said this before mental health moment, and I'll share again with obviously not saying any names, to reveal anybody's identity, but I cannot tell you how many people I have talked to in my career who have been at their darkest hour that were considering taking their lives, and the thing that saved them was that someone reached out to them and was like, "Hey, just checking in with you," or "Hey, whatever this, you wanna go out to lunch," or "Hey, let's do that." Like in that moment, it literally brought them back. And I am not saying this is saving everybody on the planet. Of course not. I'm not saying that. But for certain people, it clicked in their brain and they were like, "Oh my God, someone cares about me. Let me continue living." And again, no, this is not 100% the solution. Nobody's saying that. But for certain people, it is. So I know that's a big responsibility to share with you all, but I'm literally telling you that's the power of you just checking in with someone, which costs you no money, which costs you 15 seconds of your time to pick up a cell phone and be like, "Hey, how are you doing?" Because you just don't know what people are going through. So I just wanted to share that with you because I'm always fascinated at this point in my career. I mean, I've just heard thousands and thousands of stories, thousands of stories, and a lot of stories about resilience. And it is it is always fascinating to me that we underestimate the small gestures that we can do as humans, like human to human connection. That's huge. That's huge. Like, so again, as we head into this holiday season, end of the year, the hectic and all the things happening, again, step one or tip one for today is making sure that we're just reaching out to people. Right. Like, and if someone just crosses your mind, you're like, you know what? I haven't heard from that. So I wonder how they're just reach out. Right. Like, and because again, your message could be the thing that they needed to be like, "You know what? I think I'm okay today," right? Like your message could be the thing that they're like, "Oh wait, someone does care about me." Because depression is a liar too, by the way, as many of you know, or anxiety is a liar too. So we tell ourselves all sorts of things that are not true, like nobody cares about us, all these things. Like it distorts our brain. So then when you reach out to that person and they're like, "Wait a minute, maybe someone does care." Or wait a minute, I was having the worst day of my life, but someone cares, like that really can be impactful for people. Um, so okay, I get off my soapbox. I need to share that with you all today because and again, I can't say the name of the person, but the person I met this past weekend, I just hearing her story too, I was like, "Oh my god." And there's a lot I learned about this individual and I was so amazed because it's just I mean, she's just on the other side of some dark, hard things in her life and I'm like, "Wow, look at you now, like you're flourishing, like she made it through." Some hardships, and one of the reasons was because people were kind to her that didn't even know her. I'm like, "Hello." Okay. All right, I'm going on to the next tip. Okay, so the second tip so if you're just now tuning in, we're talking about how can we be more compassionate towards others? Because a lot of times on mental health moment, and if you miss any mental health moments, by the way, you can go to my YouTube page, Dr. Nekeshia Hammond YouTube, catch any, look up the title or whatever type of inspiration or information that you need, it's probably on there. We do a mental health moment now. Oh my god, how long has it been? I feel like next year is either 9 or 10 years. I kinda lost track, but it's been a while. It's been a minute. For the last couple years, I started putting the mental health moment replays on YouTube, so they're on there, if you need them. So a lot of it is directed towards how do you take care of you, which is important. But today's mental health moment is how do you support and be compassionate towards others, especially as we head into the crazy hectic end of the year, November, December stuff, right? There's just a lot of stuff to think about. So again, the first tip if you're just tuning in is making sure that you're doing your best to reach out to people, not just the people that you know are going through a thing, but even the people that you don't really know what's going on with them, or you think like everything's fine. They're the strong person. Yeah, those are the person you need to reach out to too. Second tip is to make sure that you're doing your best to also support the person in the way they need to be supported. And what I mean by that is sometimes we want to help people and we try to come in and we're like, "Okay, let me give you some advice. Let me tell you how to fix this. Let me tell you what you need to do." And certain people don't need advice. They need for you to just listen, like literally just be a listening ear, right? Certain people, they do need advice and they're like, "What should I do?" Obviously, if they're asking you your opinion, then obviously you would share it as a friend or a coworker or whatever, friend, family member, whatever capacity. And then certain people, what they really need is like some type of some type of act of kindness, whatever that looks like for them, right? They may be like, "Hey, can you, I don't know, come over and watch the kids, or can you, help me with something in my house, or whatever the case is, right?" But it's just really important that when we think about, okay, how are we going to help somebody, right? That we're thinking about asking them, how do I support you? Right? Like really asking that question, like what would be supportive to you? What would be helpful to you? And listen, right? And let them answer. Because again, sometimes people are like, nope. And you can even ask them, like, if you're a person and you know who you are, and it's all good, by the way, if you're that person, if you're like, yeah, I want to get in, I want to coach them, I want to give them advice, ask them if they want that from you and allow them and be okay if they're like, "Nope, I just need to vent. I just need someone to listen to me." Then maybe you're just the listener that day, which is okay because that's what they needed, right? Because most of us know what we need. It's just a matter of we tend to think we want to help someone and the way we think they want to be helped, but they don't really need that kind of help, right? So, man, I need to like get a sponsorship. from them. I just realized I'm like, hey, Vita Coco, feel free to sponsor us. I'm just kidding. Okay. I had to get hydration from the coconut water. Okay. Anyhow, especially for your quote unquote strong friends. I don't know if you've seen that before. It always, well, here and there will go around on social media, which I love when that, sort of goes viral to say, like, yes, please check in with your quote unquote strong friends too, because everyone has a breaking point. And no, you don't need to be your friend's psychologist. Um, but to be a friend and to be again checking in on your quote unquote strong who you think is strong in your life, but you really don't know all the time what's happening in their lives, because they might not be sharing everything with you. It just really, really goes a long way. Because a lot of times people don't tend to check in on the quote unquote strong people anyway, because you're like, oh, they're fine. Yeah, they've gone through some stuff. They're good, right? So we accidentally neglect those people, and it's like they need we need to check in on those people too. The smallest gestures can mean the world to someone that is suffering silently. Absolutely. Yes. Which brings me to my third point. For today is really thinking well, that was actually my third point. Is really thinking about those small gestures. Like also practical support, right? So if you celebrate some sort of holiday coming up here, if in your tradition you have some type of meal, let's say, I mean, it's just I'm chuckling because it just gets so stressful sometimes too during the holidays because I think there's just so many moving parts. And right now, I know this is a global community here, but I will say with our, I don't know what's going on with our shutdown or whatever the thing is, like we're already being told in the US, like, hey, fun fact for your Thanksgiving plans and your travel and whatnot, good luck with that because the airlines are just a mess right now, right? That kind of adds on to the stress, right? When you can't even get to where you're trying to get to in addition to meals, preparing meals and like there's just so many moving parts that one of the practical ways you might want to support someone is if you say, "Hey, how can I help with said meal?" If that's the way celebrate your tradition, right? Like it's just there's small things sometimes that really go a long way. And for many of us, we are working, which is okay, on how to ask for help. So keeping that in mind, there are people that really, really can use your help, but they're never going to ask you. Right, and especially when you know the people like that, those are the people you say, "Hey, you know what? I just wanna chip in and do XYZ," because they might accept your help, but they might not be as comfortable asking for your help, right? So that's where you can take the initiative and be like, "Hey, I just wanna help out with whatever it is that you can help out." Right? It really is the small gestures. They go a very far way, and it really is some, like, practical support that we can do sometimes. Because a lot of times we think well, I've seen this happen like a gazillion times. A lot of times we think that help is only in these large, grand gestures. And it's like, I mean, yes, that's important too, but it's just it's the little things a lot of times that really go a long way too. So I just don't want us to think to forget about that. So again, so as I wrap up today's mental health moment, I just really want to reiterate a couple things. One is that we just do not know what people are going through. We don't always know someone's story. And case in point, for those of you who tuned in late, I was just talking in the beginning of mental health moment of this amazing conference that I went to this past weekend, met the most, like just the most amazing individual, just really great human, and then I heard her story, and I just had so much compassion because I was like, "Oh my god." It's a lot. It was just a lot to go through, and, luckily she's on the other side, she's doing great, but throughout that time, one of the things that, sort of saved her there was a lot of things that happened, but one of the things that saved her was the kindness of strangers, and it's like, that's incredible, and again, she's not the 1st, 2nd, 3rd 10th, 100th story I've heard like that. So it does have impact when we really think about showing up for other people and having compassion for other people, especially during this time period. But as I wrap up today's mental health moment, again, make sure to reach out to someone. Again, simple things, quick text, email, quick phone call. If you do FaceTime, whatever it is that you do to reach out with someone and let them know, hey, I'm thinking about you. Hey, are you good? Are you okay? Do you need anything? Because it really does go a long way, right? Just so many things happening in the world, and it just can be an overwhelming place sometimes, which is why I talk a lot. If you're new to mental health moment, we talk a lot about mindset because it can be overwhelming when we don't also concentrate on our mindset, right? And making ourselves mentally stronger and emotionally stronger and physically and spiritually stronger so that we can have the resilience to get through. But another way that we can get through is having the support of others, which is why, really, I mean, and also I want you to think about your bandwidth as you head into the end of the year, of course. And also whatever you can give, you may be like, I'm at 100%. I'm, giving a lot to other people around me. Great. You might be like, I'm just operating at like 20% because there's a lot going on. just got a little bit of my time to give, right? We have to assess for ourselves and be true to yourself and your bandwidth. But whatever you're able to give, right? Like you're lending your listening ears, if you will, or the advice, or just listening, or practical support, or however that looks like. Just make sure you think about that heading into the end of the year. Okay, that's what I got for you today. Today's mental health moment. But I will be back. Have an amazingly blessed week. Be sure to reach out to someone. Be sure to support one another, and I'll see you next week. Bye, guys.